Hi, welcome back. This is another episode of the Chasing Butterflies, and I have my two friends, Mandy and Jeremy here, and we are doing a Mother's Day dedication, so we are going to talk about their mom, Jerry. Did she go by Jerry? Jerry Ann Hutchings. So I want to hear all about your mama.
Where do you start?
Where'd she grow up? And
So from what she told us, it was kind of more of like she was with her grandma and grandpa a lot. Like they kind of lived down the street in Houston area, I guess, right?
She was born older brother. My grandmother was with her husband Jerry, which is my mom's biological dad. But then I'm not really sure what age Grandy was when her and Jerry separated. But then my grandmother met another man, Carl, and he actually ended up adopting my mom and my Uncle Mike. And then Carl and Grandy, they had my Uncle Mark. So my mom was in the middle between two brothers. Mm-hmm. My Uncle Mark passed away, actually, when I was really young.
How did he pass away?
From AIDS, actually.
AIDS? Oh.
Yeah.
I had an aunt that passed away from
it. Yeah, it was horrible.
Yeah.
But.
So what was her childhood like? You know, I guess if she grew up here in Houston then?
Yeah.
Do you know what area?
Friendswood.
Okay.
She grew up. Okay. They grew up in like kind of by the airport in Houston.
Okay. Yeah.
And then when they got older, they moved to Friendswood.
Yeah. Okay. That's where she went to school and
that's where she met my dad and everything. So yeah, they lived. She grew up there, and her and my Uncle Mike were really really close. It was always just kind of like them two. Mm-hmm. But my Grandy did always kind of her and Carl got separated. Her second husband, and then she got remarried again. So
she was the fixer. She always wanted to fix.
Grady was the fixer, and it was funny to hear her I guess yell because she didn't know how. She was so soft spoken. She was like, "Don't you do that?" But she was so sweet and dainty, but Mom didn't really talk too much about her childhood. I just know her grandparents were the biggest inspiration in her life.
Yeah.
Was her grandma and her grandpa, and
which were my great grandparents.
Yeah.
And I got to know my great grandmother until I was 24 years old.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty cool.
She passed away.
Yeah.
So for me, I'd never really experienced grief, before really that, and that was really, really hard for me. I would say, and then
that was
bam.
That was her first, Mandy's first real heartache. And I think for me, I was still kind of young. I was early teens.
We're 10 years apart. I am older. I know a lot of people don't think that when they see us, but
and we have a brother in between us too.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she just but my first grief started was when I lost my grandma, my mom's mom, my Grandy. That was when kind of.
But okay, so to back up to mom and childhood and all that good stuff, my Uncle Mike, my mom's older brother, and my dad were good friends. And so dad would come over to the house, I guess, and mom kind of had the hots for him. And I guess she decided to
Not
ask
at
him.
first. Remember, she would see dad kiss his girlfriend in the hallway, and she'd go, ugh.
Yeah.
Who would want to kiss that guy? Ugh.
Yeah. But then I guess, got the hots for him.
Personality, she says.
And then got the courage to ask him to a Van Halen concert. And so that was their first date, I guess, officially. And then the rest is history. I feel we know more stories about, from whenever they got together and, on.
Yeah.
Than really remembering her as, a kid. But.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, how long did they date before they got married?
They didn't date very long, I don't think.
Very long at all.
Yeah.
I remember too, my mom telling me the story about whenever she was in summer school or something, my dad would drive her there, and she was in class, and when she had come out of class one time, my dad, the whole time that she was in there, he strategically set up this string, wrapped it around the top of the visor, down to the thing, over yonder, into the thing, and put in the glove compartment. So when my mom got out of class and she came sat down in the passenger seat, dad was like, open the glove compartment or whatever, and I guess whenever she did, a little ring popped out to propose to her.
Oh, how sweet.
I know.
That's just so dad.
That's so dad.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I didn't really get proposed. He's like, so when do you think you want to do this? Sorry, honey, I ratted you out. So then she had you and your
Yep.
brother. What's your brother's name?
Travis.
Travis. And then the baby.
And then me, 10
Yeah.
years later, best thing that ever happened.
Yep. Travis is about 2.5 years younger than I am.
Okay.
Yeah, they told my mom it'd be really hard for her to get pregnant after my brother because I think something happened, like she had like a ovary burst or something after
yeah.
she had Travis. So
It's painful. I've had
yeah,
it done.
so they were like, it's gonna be really hard, and
Surprise!
sure enough,
She saved the best for
yeah,
last.
here I am.
No offense to you and your brother.
They already know.
So y'all want to tell me how she became an angel?
Sure.
Well, we don't want to make this a Chasing Butterflies COVID edition, but because we could go
Yeah.
on about that. But
Yeah.
So our mom initially passed away of COVID pneumonia, in January 15th of 2022. Also, I'm pregnant, so I'm very emotional.
You're good.
But yeah, so it just kind of, I had a 1-year-old. My daughter was 1 at the time, and I was pregnant with my son. I was probably about 16 weeks pregnant. And I was really sick with him my first trimester, and like so sick, couldn't keep anything down. And just being, let me just start off with this too, with us having our mom. Like, we were so blessed to have the mom that we had, because she was always there she put us number one in her life. Like, she was available 24/7, and I was so thankful
amazing.
that I got to experience a little motherhood with my mom.
Yeah. It's beautiful.
It was cut short, and I hate that, but I'm so glad and blessed that I had that.
She taught you that.
She did.
Yeah.
She did. And I still, even still this day when I'm parenting, I hear my mom's voice. Like, and
I
I'm
do
all,
too.
Yeah, I'm all, wow, Jerian. Okay.
wild.
She's still in there.
Yeah, she is. Yep. But so Christmas, I guess, is when it was Christmas Day. We all went over there, and I'm sitting there with my IV because I'm so dehydrated, and everyone kind of started feeling a little like weird that night, a little sick, and her, like, probably like 2 days after Christmas, she was like, I think me and Dad have COVID, and we're not feeling too well, and everyone kind of was getting better except for her. And Mandy was going over, because Mandy had it too, so Mandy was going over there, and I was staying away. And Mandy was going over there making them soup and taking care of them, and I had finally FaceTimed. I guess when you're around them so much, you don't really see like the severity of it.
Yeah.
And so I had FaceTimed Mom that night, which was weird because I would FaceTime my mom all day long. Even just getting dressed in the morning, she'd be propped up FaceTiming. And she couldn't hardly like just hold her phone to FaceTime me. And she was just kind of like, hey, like just kind of not being able to breathe. So I called Mandy and I was like, where are you? And she was like, I just got home from Mom and Dad's. And I was like, Mom's not good. Like, she's not feeling good, Mandy. Like, something's not right. So she starts crying. And so she goes back over there. I call my aunt and my cousin who are nurses. I'm like, where do we take Mom? Because she's not doing good. And at that time, they told us to take her to UTMB Galveston because they were the only hospital that was doing...
They just had everything. Like, if for
Yeah.
some reason it got worse and they needed to move her to like ECMO rather than putting
Yeah.
her in an ambulance and taking her to UTMB,
Yeah.
just start out there in the first place where everything is available.
Yeah,
and
and
it's a
there's
teaching
doctors there.
hospital.
Yeah.
And
There's doctors there 24/7.
Yeah.
And
so that's where we went.
yeah, so Mandy loaded her up, and she was just kind of confused, like why she had to go there, and
She didn't want to go.
Yeah, she
but
didn't want to
knew
go.
She needed to go.
And also, just like a little backup, if you like, when I was a junior in high school, my mom had got pneumonia, and they put her under. She was like in a coma for. So what is that called?
Like a medically induced
Yeah.
coma.
And ever since then, she's been kind of like scared of that. And so she was just, kind of like, why am I going here? But she went. And as soon as they got there, they were like, hey, you have COVID and you have pneumonia. You have walking pneumonia. And kind of just went, I feel like it went downhill, but then it was starting to go back up. And then just overnight was like, whoa, this is crazy. Like, this is literally our life. Like, we were living at the hospital too, because like I said, we're a very close family. We're a small family, but we're very close.
It was very like when I took her to the hospital. Of course, I like walked her in, and then because it is COVID times, they're all masked. You can't even be in here. You need to go way out in your car. My poor mom's in there by herself, and so I'm just sitting in the car waiting for something. And she called, and she was like, like go on home. They're going to keep me. They said I have pneumonia, and I was like, okay, whatever. Left, called Dad, and then next thing you know, we're at the hospital for 2 weeks straight, pretty much.
Yeah, we admitted her January 2nd, and she passed January 15th. So, yeah, we all, we got there, and there was some really awesome nurses, and there was some really just, you should probably retire nurses.
Hopefully they're watching.
Yeah. Hello. I remember your name. I'm just kidding.
Oh, we remember.
But no, they would let my dad in. Yeah. They would just let my dad in for 30 minutes a day. And
that was the craziest thing. I feel like if there's any regret after all the COVID craziness, it's going to be that people were not allowed to be with their loved ones when they passed, fortunately we did at the very end, we were able to go in there, but you had to have a whole hazmat suit on, and it was just insane. I just
no humanity.
Knowledge too.
I just ripped mine all off. I didn't even care anymore.
We have a friend that his daughter passed away, and he had to watch it on FaceTime.
Yeah, that makes me sick.
It's really sickening.
Yeah. It was really bizarre because
she had a lot of health issues.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, see, it's.
And that was the crazy thing. Mom didn't really have any underlining.
When she had pneumonia previously, of course she had some scarring in her lungs from that, but and maybe she was a little overweight, but who's not, right? And then, but other than that, she didn't have high blood pressure, she didn't have diabetes.
Yeah.
There was nothing no.
She was 61, I think we said.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she just kind of, it was just a roller coaster of emotions the whole time. We were sleeping out in the cars, and
okay, UTMB hospital. I don't know if any of y'all have ever been there, but it's humongous, and it was just dead. There's nobody there, and so
because of COVID, we were scared.
Yeah, and so we were like, we don't care. We're gonna sit right here at this. There's literally no one. Let us just be here for my mom. And finally, that was a whole ordeal. Actually, when they kicked us out, Jeremy almost got arrested.
Maybe.
She's telling y'all secrets.
Actually, I'm proud
cut all
of it.
this part
Okay,
out.
no.
But it was really crazy, and it was just.
I'm very
unfair,
protective of my mother. If you want to know who my mother is, stay tuned, because she looks just like her, and I act just like her.
No, but honestly, but it was a crazy time just to experience that. Having a loved one in the hospital, dying, and you have to be in the parking lot. It was just weird. My dad could go up for 30 minutes a day. There was a couple nurses that were nice enough to let him stay for an hour or something, but that was it. Dad was he would go in I think, I don't know if it was Aunt Tina or Uncle Pitty had brought a a little recording, and so
I bought that. Yeah,
and we all talked in it, and the dad would go upstairs and play it for her, and
we all shared it, and we all said a little something to her, and he would, just so she could hear our voices, because at this point she was she was under.
I'm sorry. I didn't even want to be on this podcast, but here I am let me tell you. No.
It's okay. Your sisters.
I know.
My sisters, we would do that too.
But whenever, when she had pneumonia the first time and she was in the hospital and she was in a medically induced coma, we were there all the time. And we'd be like, oh, she's gurgling, change this, and then come suction, or her hand flipped this way, do something. All of these things, and then here she is up there with COVID in the same situation, a medically induced coma, and a ventilator, and how do we know that the nurses weren't they were all COVID too, and so how were they not checking to make sure her she wasn't being suctioned, or whatever the things that they needed to do to, I don't know, it was just weird to just
be part of that.
Yeah, and not be there. I don't.
Yeah. I will say it was, I did get to go see her the first night they moved her into ICU, because they didn't have any room, so they kept her down the emergency part for a few days, and then when they finally had room for her to go to ICU, I got to go in there that night and speak to her, which will always be one of my favorite memories to this day, because at that moment, I was pregnant with my son, and me and my husband could not think of what to name him. And so she just so dramatically ripped off that mask and goes, I like that name, Cade. And I was like, okay, whatever, And we sat there and we just held hands for the longest time until they kicked me out. And I had no clue. And I remember the last thing I said to her was, you have to get better, because I cannot live this life without you in it. So
here you are living.
I know, here I am. You do just start living for them too, but
and your babies.
Yeah, you have to. When you have kids, you don't have a choice, And it kills me every day to know that they don't know the life. They won't know the life of a
It's
Meemaw.
your job to tell.
Yeah.
Yeah, they know Meemaw without knowing Meemaw.
Oh yeah,
That's cool.
Yeah, like Cade's never, met her, which I think he has, but he was at her house the other day and she was changing him and he was like, Meemaw's here. I mean, he was like, what?
I'm like, hi, Mom.
I know. I'm like, did you say hi to her?
It was cool.
I think that night too that she passed away, I think I always think back of poor Dad. I had just ran to the restroom. Our husbands had just left to go grab dinner for all of us, and at this point we're camping out in the parking lot. And I went inside and I was coming out and I see my brother and my sister throwing their chairs in the back of the truck, and I'm like, what's going on? They're like, Dad needs us, hurry. And I'm like, what? And I'm pregnant, so I'm like, what? We run up there, and as soon as those elevators open, I have never seen my dad so empty, I think, and so that's when he let us all make a family decision about letting Mom go. And
hard.
Yeah, you never think
there.
about being in that situation. And weirdly, I weirdly just go, let her go be with Jesus, like, because she doesn't want to be stuck here like that. That if she's never going to be Jerry Ann and be the Meemaw that she wants to be, go let her be with Jesus.
Yeah, they said if she was going to wake up from her coma, it would be a very hard road for her to continue to live, really. And she wouldn't want that. But to back up a little bit, too, my dad, he had just lost his mom a month prior to my
35
mom.
days,
I remember
yeah.
that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that was a big old bummer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I just remember that.
Yeah.
Kim was telling
Yeah.
me.
Shout out, Kim.
So she likes that. I want to know what y'all do to celebrate her.
Okay.
How she lives through y'all.
Okay, well, whenever...
Even though I know you're a grandmother now.
yeah. She's the new
I've
Meemaw.
had to step into the role,
This is the new Meemaw.
At first, I was really bothered by it, I was like, oh, God. I remember like taking Zoe to the store with me, and she's like going, Mimi, because that's what they call me. And I'm like, come on, don't be saying that, But I told Sharon the other day, I really don't mind it, because people are like, dang, she looks good for being a Mimi. Right?
She's a young grandma.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, I'll do it. Yeah. So some of the ways we celebrate Mom, whenever the day of her funeral, all these flowers, she had so many flowers, and we all decided to sleep at Dad's house that night. I mean, I feel like we had blow-up mattresses everywhere and all this stuff, and I woke up really early, and I was just like, there was just so many flowers. So I don't know why I did it, but I just started kind of cutting the flowers off of all of it, and then put them in a big basket, and then we went out to the pond. My parents had a big pond in the backyard, and we just kind of started tossing the flowers in, and it was beautiful.
I remember seeing the pictures.
Yeah, it was so pretty.
And we wrote on some rocks, like, for her next anniversary, like, just like a little message. We threw them in the pond, because she loved sitting out there in the pond. Like, she loved it. So
That was the clip.
Yeah.
So we hear that. So we do that, and then, I don't know, like, for me, I honor her and like my parenting every day. I feel like she's just, it's still like I'm still in that, I feel like I'm just now getting over that phase of like, she's not really here anymore kind of thing. Like, I feel like the first year you're just in like complete shock. And then
right there. That's how I feel,
Yeah. And then that second year you're kind of like, wow, like it's been a whole year since I've got to hold her hand or hold her, like just hug her, and she was the best about being a new mom. When I had Zoe, like she would just randomly stop me. I would walk and she would just stop me and just hug me and go, you're doing good. And so I miss that all the time. So I try to do that to my daughter. Like I try to, and that's why I think of like all the future of like when my kids have kids, like how I want to be helpful to them, how my mom was to me. And so and we go to La Casita a lot for her, because that was her. You live in Friendswood,
Hey, that was our stomping ground, man.
Yeah.
So, each of you, I want you on your own to tell me what's your fondest memory of your mom. I know it's a lot. It's a lot to ask because there's probably billions. Yeah. Or even if it was just a funny one.
Dang.
Yeah. Me and my mom like to prank each other. Or I pranked her all the time.
Jamie has some good stories.
Yeah. So I think that was me and my mom's.
I just thought about the woman you locked her out.
Yeah.
Tell us.
I did.
Speak.
She's
They told
totally
us
gonna
at Mom's
come back.
funeral,
Yeah,
too.
I did.
Oh my God.
One time, my mom, I lived at home because I was in college, and she went outside and she just wore her panties and t-shirt to bed, and so I was getting up to go to school, and she went outside and at this time they lived in a neighborhood, and she went out in the backyard to go feed the koi fish, and I thought it'd be funny because she's just in her underwear and t-shirt to lock her out. And I'm sitting there like this, and it's like a clear door, and I'm going like this, and she comes back, and she's going, Jeremy! And I'm just sitting there going, and I was eventually going to let her, and I just had to let her sweat it out for a little bit. And the next thing I know, I'm like, where's she going? She gets an inflated
Like a pool tube.
Yeah, like a pool float, and she tries to wrap it around her, and and I'm like, what is she doing? She goes through the gate to the front door, like out in our front area, like in her t-shirt and underwear with this float that doesn't fit. And I can meet her out in the front yard, and I'm just like dying laughing. And she's like, oh my God. She's just mortified that I did that to her. She could not believe she
I'm
was in
so
the
glad
front
my
yard.
daughter's not here, dude. She'd be going, what can I do? Because I'm kind of a jokester like that.
Yeah,
So
yeah. There's a
she
lot
could
of
get-
it. Yeah.
get some payback on me.
Yeah.
We had a lot of fun teasing
Yeah.
Mom. She would always say,
She's a
like,
good
what am
sport.
I, chopped liver?
Yeah.
We just picked on her all the time.
We were always like, Dad's so cute. Dad's so. What am I,
what am
chopped
I?
liver?
Okay, well, what about your
God,
favorite?
I don't even know if actually, when my Uncle Matt, he was the one that read at Mom's funeral, and he asked all of us to have a story, and I was like, I got nothing. And I feel like I still got nothing. And I don't know how, but I just got nothing. And I don't know what it is. I think that's part of my grief is I've not let myself go there. Jeremy, on the other hand, she'll sit there with videos and just watch it and listen. And
Sometimes.
and I'm like, that's
Sometimes
cool.
I
I can't
can.
look at it. And I don't know what it is. Like,
Everybody's different.
yeah.
Yeah.
I know when I watch, Chase was in musicals and stuff, and when I go back and watch the videos, and I actually hear his voice, I can't take it.
Yeah.
It's really hard. Like, I'm
Yeah.
just talking about it.
I know.
Yeah.
I feel that.
Yeah.
It's just, I guess I just miss his
Yeah.
voice, and that's what it just sends me.
Yeah.
But I do watch him sometimes.
Yeah. Sometimes, yeah, that's why. Sometimes it's just depending on the day. Like sometimes I can sit there and watch her and listen to her and look at pictures, and sometimes I can't even bear just to look in her eyes.
Yeah.
You know, like just seeing the life in her eyes, and so it really just depends. And sometimes it helps me cry. Like if I
Yeah.
just feel like I need a good crying, I bring out a video of her and because I do have kids, like I do want them to just know who she was and what she sounded like, and so
They're going to get to know her through that, and that's good. I love that. I love that. So, what was like the thing that you appreciated the most about her?
Everything.
Everything.
yeah, she like when I tell you my mom, and it's wild to me when I hear some people not having a close relationship with their mom. I'm just like confused. I'm like, what? Like even like some of my bestest of friends, I'm like, what? You don't have that kind of relationship with your mom? I could tell my mom anything, like
Yeah,
everything and
that's nice.
anything. Like it's just so wild to me that and it. I guess you just don't realize that when you're living in it until you don't miss something until it's gone. And when she's gone, it made me really go, wow, like we really did have the best mom. Like we really did. Like she was there for all of us. We could call her at 2:00 in the morning and she'd be there.
Our best friend, our punching bag, like all, she
Tell
was,
us what we didn't want to hear. She gave
Honestly.
great advice. Yeah, honestly, when we
I like that.
didn't want to hear it.
Like that guy's not good for you, or
You don't know
whatever.
anything. What was that towel you bought Mom that said, you're right about everything or something? Remember?
no.
We're sorry. On this episode, Mandy's lost her memory.
I think I have, honestly.
Maybe it's your protective.
Yeah, it's so bizarre. It's
No,
so
I
weird.
don't remember that.
I'm like,
No.
yeah, no, yeah.
Okay. So do you?
Do you remember anything?
Yeah. Okay. You just go sit on the couch.
Do you remember?
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, right? Yeah. I told you I was over there. No. God, I don't know. I don't know. Next.
Next. Okay. What is something that she taught y'all that you just really value? I mean, you've kind of said some of the stuff, but
Yeah.
you know, obviously she taught you how to be a good parent, and
That's good.
I think mom taught us how to be just good people.
Yeah,
Just
that's
to
important.
to be
Yeah.
kind to people and to
Accept people and
I think that was
have a good sense of humor, to not take things so
my mom
personally.
did have a really great sense of humor.
My mom was very, if you looked at her, she was intimidating because she just
She
was
had that
very
RBF.
like, yeah, she had RBF really bad. So she was just kind of really,
I hope she's listening.
I know.
These girls.
There's some things that I say about her and I'm like, she would kill me right now. But, so I can hear my chopped liver. But no, she would
No,
just.
she was filet mignon. She was not chopped liver.
Yeah,
Let's make that clear.
Amen.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think she'd know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. But yeah, so she, wait, what was the question?
what we felt that she instilled in us or taught us. Or,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think honestly, for me, I think it's like just being like she said, a good person and just having a good sense of humor. And I think too, I look back at, my mom, she lost a brother, and when she lost her mom, and she never really had a dad figure. And I just look at now that I'm grieving her and her being like my real first like pain, of a loss. I just look back all the time like, how did she carry it so well? And again, like I know like people probably think I do too. People always like, I don't know how you smile. And I'm like, well, not all the time. Sometimes I sit in my closet and just let it loose. But I just like, she just taught us to have so much grace and to teach us about our faith. And something really special too that my mom happened when after she passed away was my dad found letters that she wrote to us randomly in 2019.
That's
and
beautiful.
it first starts off with, you're reading this because I must be with Jesus. And it ends with, I'll meet you with arms wide open. And for that, I am thankful that she has taught us so much about faith, because it's true. Like for me, I'm teaching my kids one day they're going to live without me. And I want them to know that where I am and that I'm with Jesus.